All right, so we're back. We're gonna finish the interview with my man Zeta here.
We still here in the Iron Horse Cigar Lounge, Cigar Depot.
As you can see, we changed spots. We got a little more comfortable.
Spots. And for all y'all that don't know, all of this above our head is members that used to be here.
That's the background.
They passed away.
Yeah.
And the shadow boxes are their favorite cigars.
What they did is they immortalized them as part of the lounge with their favorite cigars in the shadow box and their pictures above it. So
the first picture over there,
where's the lighter?
Is Leo the owner, right?
The owner's
father, Leo.
That the lighter?
That was the owner's father, Leo. Jim, why don't you school us on the rest of them?
They're just members. They're longtime customers of the shop, and all friends of ours.
So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. I've never been to a lounge that has done that in my whole 30 years.
The only lounge I was at that did that was the one in Newburgh.
Right.
But that was like a club.
So there you have it. So now, ladies and gentlemen,
let's get back to the man himself.
Gorilla,
my man
Zeta the Great.
Did you say Zeta the Great? I like that.
Zeta the Great.
So when we left off, we were discussing how you got to the slow burn sessions and came up with the name and the relaxing Sunday that Hobo had. And I mean, I will tell you, I've tuned into some of your lives at night and when you're doing it, and on Sundays when you do it, and the vibe is great.
I appreciate it.
Always, you know that, bro. And you know, I've seen some of the lengths of some of your songs and beats, or I'm not really sure what to call them, I guess. And I've seen one of them was like 17 minutes.
Yeah.
What is it? Aftermath, I think it was.
14, 15, 16. Aftermath is 16 minutes.
Yes.
So the first 3 songs, Slow Burn Sessions, Silent Conversations, Aftermath, they have a thing where it's 14 minutes, 15 minutes, 16 minutes.
Okay. So what made you come up with that time limit?
So let's do it this way, right? Let's start with the naming of these things. So Slow Burn Session started with me not having a name for it at all, right? It was just kind of one of those things that was like I said, it was supposed to be a compilation of sounds, and it went from a compilation of sounds to being this full-length track. And I said in the live that I created it on, I don't know what to name this thing at all. And Hobo had dropped the name Slow Burn Sessions, and I'm thinking it up in my head, and I'm like, yo, I like how that sounds. So it went from that to, all right, now this track has a name. Now it's just going to sit on SoundCloud for the longest time. You know, a
lot of stuff sits on SoundCloud for a long time.
Yeah, right.
I got songs on there that I've listened to for like fucking 10 years that are still sitting there from like 5 years before that.
So I got to this point of, okay, you know, I want to release some music, but I don't know which direction that I want to go in with it. Do I really want to put it out? But do I, you know, I do, but I don't, but I do, but I don't kind of thing. It was that whole back and forth thing with myself. So
right.
Get to a point where, you know, I had some cigars from RS The Lifestyle. Shout out to Big Brother. And
but shout out to him. He wants to come on. You can send him the link.
And he and his wife have their couples retreat cigars. So they never asked me to do this. I just kind of took the liberty and was like, hey, you know, I want to create some music, because that whole couples retreat thing kind of inspired the whole like Silent Conversations track, Aftermath, so on and so forth. So I just started creating music for their event. And I'm like, hey, you know what? Maybe I will put a song out just to kind of see what it garners, what kind of attention it garners. So it was one of those things like, all right, slow burn sessions is like 14 minutes. And I'm thinking to myself, these are songs that, you know, you don't, me personally, right, I can't vibe to everything on the radio. I can't vibe to everything on Spotify, you know, YouTube music. Some stuff comes on and I'm like, what the fuck is even this? And other times I'm like, oh, okay, this is nice, but it's not long enough for me to vibe to. It's not long enough for me to have a cigar and a drink and, you know, kind of put my feet up and go.
Right.
I'm vibing. So with the whole time thing, it was, I want you to be able to sit down with your cigar. If you have a significant other, sit down with him or sit down with her and just smoke, drink, vibe, and do whatever you do. You know, some people call my music clapping cheeks music, you know, hey, to, you know, to
I've heard brief snippets, and I mean, I'm just saying, there might be some baby making music going on.
Can you explain to the viewers?
You don't have to.
Hold on, mind your business. Can you explain to the viewers what clapping cheek music means?
So right, it's a Sunday morning. You hear the birds chirping, tweet, right?
What's the first thing you do on a Sunday morning? You put on some music and you make some babies.
He said, yo, the birds are chirping. So
Tweet,
are we talking about the birds and the bees?
Yeah, let's do it that way, right? So for those who don't know what clapping cheeks music is, right? If you don't, I hate to do it this way, but if you're not familiar with like R. Kelly and Bump and Grind and
whoa.
And the keys to his ignition.
Shout out to R. Kelly.
Shout out to R. Kelly.
My name is R. Kelly. My name is now Hello.
No. Him and Diddy gonna be in there playing some Bump and Grind. They're gonna be called the Take That Mansion now.
Oh.
You know what? No comment. I'm not even gonna get on all that. But I know some shit. So
he said I know some shit.
so clapping cheeks is that thing that you know, it's called the love making order.
I was gonna say that you do for some recreational activities.
Yeah, it's burn some extra calories in the morning.
Get that cardio in.
You know, try to keep it a little PG here. You know, for those who don't go to the gym,
just don't pick up the soap.
Yeah, so for those who don't go to the gym, clapping cheeks music is that you know.
Yo, the manager's sitting there like
he's sitting on the other side looking at us
like,
laughing.
Yo, this is him. He's like,
so you know, good old song that goes. All right, that's all I need to say. That's all I need to say. Everybody, if you don't know the beginning of that song, we can't have a conversation. There's no reason for us to be trying to hold a conversation if you don't know the beginning of that song and where that song gonna take you. So you know, I was told my music is like clapping cheeks music, and I had to laugh at it, but then I had to kind of just sit and listen to it, and I'm like,
well,
wow.
That's like so what
because
you're doing,
you don't think of stuff like that until people say it.
So what you're doing, you're producing music like a good friend of mine that I know for 45 years, DJ Penn. He has gold records with DMX and the Rough Riders. So, you know, that's my brother.
He was producing that fight music.
He was producing the fight music and everything else.
Look, Zeta not even commenting on that because he knows it's true.
You know, for DJ Penn, shout out to him. Shout out to Yonkers. Shout out to the original Rough Riders. And I want to tell you, my man, I commend you because you being a solo producer of your own music, that takes a lot of work besides your regular job. That takes a lot of work.
And not only that, by producing your own stuff, you own the masters to all your songs, which in the music industry
is very important. A lot of people
big thing for
the masters is a very important
for
thing.
The artists to own all their masters.
Right.
And a lot of people don't realize that. Like, so these assholes don't get shopping sprees.
Yes, I know.
Shout out to P. Diddy.
I'm not big into the music world.
I am.
But I am. But like I know owning your masters is a big thing that a lot of artists are now fighting for. Like I know I heard an interview with Mims, the guy that did This Is Why I'm Hot.
Yeah.
He made, or whatever, I forget who I think it was Sony, made like 35 million off that song, and he got like $100,000.
So let me break the codes down. So this goes a few different ways. So when you own your masters, you own everything of that record, right? So
Right.
It goes like this. I'm going to pretend to be a label, and you guys are going to pretend to be the artist. I'm going to give y'all some industry secrets that stuff that I like the normal person doesn't know. They just think that they know.
Right.
And it goes like this, right? You got a few different groups of people. You talented, but you ugly, but you talented, and you semi-talented. You got like the looks, but you got everything that we want. You got the talent, the looks, and everything else, but we don't know what to do with this artist because we can't make them hip-hop. We can't make them R&B. We can't make them pop because they have their own sound, and we as a mainstream label, we don't know what to do with that. So Tanaja is a prime example of an artist that has looks, vocals, but she can't go mainstream. When she did go mainstream, they didn't know what to do with her because she doesn't have that. She refuses to kind of go a certain way. Maya is another prime example.
She doesn't want to conform to what they want her to.
Exactly. Maya doesn't like Maya was that artist that's like,
oh
she
man,
did a lot. She did a lot of this. She said no to a lot.
And she's a hell of an artist. For those of you who know who
definitely.
she is,
You have artists
and can sing her ass off, man.
So now that we covered a little bit of the music spot,
here's a good thing. I was gonna ask this, but so I have a buddy of mine who's a DJ. He just started a separate Instagram page called Tiny Mike's Big Sticks. And what he does is he gives you like a cigar and says, okay, you know what, I think this cigar pairs great with this song. You know, and sometimes it'll be beats, it'll be songs. Now, let me ask you this question. Do you think there's specific cigars that go with your songs?
Your music.
Or your music?
You know what? I never even thought about that in context, but
okay.
So there are 7 songs on the EP, and the last 2 I'm not going to give the name of. They're just like kind of surprise. These are
right. Yeah, absolutely.
So if I had to go with 7 cigars, I would go with Slow Burn Sessions. That would be like something mild. So think yellow Camacho.
Okay.
Yellow label Camacho.
Yep. Or even like a Herrera Esteli Habano.
Yeah. Something like very mild to start off.
Like that Connecticut Habano range.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sumatra even sometimes, depending on the cigar.
For silent conversations, you want to go. I feel like you want to kind of go mild to medium. You want to stay in there. So you kind of want to go. You can go with the Ashton.
Okay.
You can go with like a Romeo Julieta.
I'm not a big Ashton fan. I tried them.
Well, no, you do smoke Ashton.
No,
La Aroma de Cuba, that's Ashton. La Aroma de Cuba is Ashton. San Cristobal is Ashton.
Yeah, but
I don't like the actual Ashton labels.
Yeah.
For
something like Aftermath, you can go medium, right? And with that's where we can pull out like a Perdomo.
Okay.
You can pull out a Davidoff on that one. We
gotta put some DBLs in there somewhere.
Oh, come on now! I can't forget about bro. Like, come on.
Maybe that's the 6 and 7 song that you don't know about yet.
You're right.
Then with that, we can with Panama Sunrise, we can go Dominica by DBL, his new one of his new
one, the blue label.
Yep. Or we can even go.
That's the one I
Or
showed
we can even go with the Alpha now because, you know, French toast and cigar kind of thing.
Yeah.
If you never tasted that cigar, I don't know what people are missing. Like folk don't know what they're missing without by not tasting that cigar. That is literally tastes like French fucking toast.
Jim,
Just
what do you
in
think
cigar.
El Final. I don't think I've had that
Jim
yet.
said
That's
that's
one
a
thing
good
I don't
cigar.
think. That's one I can say I don't think I've had yet.
Yo, I'm gonna tell you straight up, you don't know what you're missing, man. It is.
I don't think I've even found that cigar yet.
Yo, when I tell you, it is a damn.
Well, I
tell
guess
you
I'll be
it's a
trying
damn
that
good
today then.
cigar. Like that's one of my breakfast smokes, right? It really gives you the French toast vibes. You got the cinnamon, the nutmeg, you can taste the vanilla. So literally think everything that goes into making French toast, that whole batter, that whole mix, and you get that slight syrup all in a cigar.
Okay.
But that's my take on Panama Sunrise with that
Right.
cigar,
But
right?
Jim goes, I got that here. Don't worry about it.
So I might have to pick one up today to try.
Yeah. And then with Panama Sunset, I'm thinking that would be like your Dominica DBL. And track number 6, that would be a wow. I think I'm gonna have to give that one to me personally. I'm gonna have to give that one to my father's. I'm gonna have to give that to the Garcia family with that one.
Okay.
And then track number 7, something that's gonna burn slow. Something that you can kind of like put track number 7 on repeat and just keep it on a loop kind of thing.
So I would say maybe just burning slow, or even a bigger ring gauge, maybe like a lunatic or something like that.
Absolutely not. I don't think anybody that wants to have a fat dick in their mouth in the form of a cigar wants to blow on that.
I just smoked the 80 by 6 Asylum the other day.
I mean, yeah, I've done an Asylum. I've made the mistake and smoked the big ass lunatic. Again, notice what I said.
No,
mistake.
But I'm not even talking about that big of a lunatic. I'm talking about the El Chiquito ones.
Oh, okay. Maybe somebody. I can see that one. You know, I can see that one.
I think it's like an 80 by 5 or something like that.
Okay, yeah. Then in that aspect, yeah, that's perfectly fine. But if you're talking about that,
one or two of those.
Yeah, if you're talking about that 8 by 8, you're like, nah, we're not doing that shit.
I mean, they have a 10 by 100.
Yeah, and guess what? They can keep that shit too. That's like smoking that fucking CAO that comes in at 10. It's like this fucking long. You can keep that shit all fucking day.
I'm gonna try. Listen, I'm gonna try that 10 by 100.
Well, you know what? You do just that. I recommend you do. I recommend you don't do this. Don't post that shit on your Instagram. Remember, we follow each other, right? So what I would like for you to do, right? You go ahead and inbox me that video where you smoking that shit, so I can be like, you know, you want some bullshit, all right?
But you do know sometimes I be on bullshit. I mean, we all know that.
Yeah, and that's gonna be one of them times.
Hanging out with my boy downtown Rick, I be on bullshit sometimes.
Look, as a matter of fact, you don't inbox me. You actually video call me so I can tell you directly when you want that bullshit.
So Zeta, we appreciate you jumping on, bro. And I mess around with you. You and I, we do our lives together. So how's the Puerto Rican rice pan doing? That's what I want to ask you.
That's racist as hell.
No, it's not. I got one myself.
All right, so people. All right, so here's a fun fact for people. Because a lot of people don't know this about me, and it's not one of those things that I make very well known. Right. I am Cherokee, Blackfoot, German, French, Italian. I'm a mix of a lot of things that don't like each other, right? And the Puerto Rican rice pan is like it's good. Okay. That being said, I have an adopted Puerto Rican family.
There you go.
So I have some ways and I have ways of my other cultures that just show themselves in my home, if you will.
Right.
Correct. And
I don't walk around with a German flag coat or anything like that. You know what I mean? We're not out here going like, we're not out here going like Odessa, none of that shit. You know, we're not doing that shit at all. But Dutch is actually supposed to be my very first language, but no one in my family speaks it, and I'm teaching myself Dutch every day. So
well, that's good.
That's great.
That's good.
Speak French.
Parlez-vous français?
Je parle français.
Oui, oui.
So, ladies and gentlemen,
Voulez-vous coucher à ce soir?
What?
I said, voulez-vous coucher à ce soir?
Okay. Sweet Lady Marmalade.
Yeah, that's about all I know. So don't ask me nothing else. So now, earlier we were talking about getting into cigars and stuff like that. I know you said your very first was the Ashton and
Romeo Leata. I have a thing for saying that like the way it's supposed to be said. I don't know why. I think it's the portrait. I think it's the
now, do you still, obviously I know you're smoking an Ashton now.
No, this is a La Fontana. That just looks like the Ashton.
Do you sorry, like an Ashton. Do you tend to find yourself going back to those cigars a lot more now?
I don't want to say all the time.
Career, I guess, so to say.
I don't want to say all the time do I find myself going back to them. It's so let's get a little personal here, right? So my mentor actually passed away some years back, and he was in some of the best health on the outsides, what it looked like. He passed away of a heart condition. He and his wife, I'm actually friends with their daughter still to this day. His wife is still alive, daughter's still alive. Daughter and I are roughly about the same age. She's actually a year older than I am. The only time that it actually crosses my mind to sit and enjoy those two cigars in particular is kind of just, I don't know what else to smoke
right
at that point in time, or I'm just having a moment where I'm like, man, damn, I miss that guy.
Right.
Or I understand that.
Or I'll take a drive up way up North Jersey into like the middle of fucking nowhere and sit with his wife and their daughter and smoke those two cigars as a kind of like I don't want to say an homage or an homage or a nod, but hey, remember these are the two you started me off with.
Right.
So one came from him and one came from her. So it's always that level of respect for me anyway, that goes, you got me into this one and he got me into this one. So those two particular cigars are always kept near and dear.
Okay.
Right. Well,
now, do you smoke other Romeo and Juliets? Or that's probably the only time that you smoke?
No, I'm one of those people. I don't have like one particular cigar that I'll smoke. I'll smoke anything that you give me, but don't be one of those people that give me one of those fucking weird ass long ass cigars that are like, a lunatic and be like, here, smoke this. Not in my head, I'm like, oh, you're trying to send subliminal messages, you raggedy bitch. So like, let's not do that.
Like you raggedy bitch.
Yo, everything y'all will come to find out as time progresses. One of my favorite words is raggedy, right? So I'm the same person that I can go buy like $100,000 Cadillac Escalade and be like, yo, this is fully loaded. Look at my little raggedy ass truck. And that bitch is brand spanking new, fresh off the mart. And you're like, why is you're like, why are you calling it raggedy? Because everything to me is raggedy. I can have $1 million house and I'm like, look at my raggedy ass front door. And that front door like the best shit you ever saw, right?
That is from Italy.
But to me, it's a raggedy ass front door. I'm like, look at this raggedy ass house. But it's not house.
You on turnbuckles and stogies with Big Dog, the Vanilla Gorilla, MBR Radio.
Well, actually, this isn't even on all that.
Right.
This interview is a YouTube exclusive.
Right. So, YouTube exclusive. So either way. So Manili Vanilli.
You called him Vanilla Gorilla. You call him Milli Vanilli just now. You called that man Vanilla Ice. You said Ice, baby.
No, I called you Manili Vanilli. I called you Manili Vanilli.
Baby.
And this is what we do, ladies and gentlemen. me and Zeta, we have a relationship that.
Wait. Watch how you phrase that. Because that sound a little.
Excuse me. We have a good friend relationship. Okay. So
I would just say good friendship.
Good friendship. Okay.
There you go. Because when you add relationship or good friend relationship in there, I mean that might say something different. So
well, that's up to the viewers to realize that me and Zeta, we always talk, whether it be offline, online, whatever, it doesn't matter. But you online right now with my man Zeta the Great, music producer, cigar aficionado.
A jack of all trades and a master of none. I'm not just a music producer. I'm not just a cigar aficionado. I'm a lot of other things that kind of, I don't want to say go under the radar, but they kind of go under the radar because I don't.
I'm a family man.
No, I can't even say just that. I'm one of those people that I like to keep a lot of what I do off the grid kind of thing.
Yes.
But certain things I don't mind sharing. Like, I just finally decided to share my music with, the world. And, let's hope for a great turnout with that, right? I share my dance. I dance as well. I play like every instrument. I write lyrics. I do a lot of shit, but I'm also one of those people that I like to kind of be behind the scenes.
Do you play the tuba?
Every instrument, unfortunately.
So you play the no, I'm not gonna say it. I'm not.
Nah, ain't no skin flutes and shit like that. Nah. Nah.
Look. Zeta, look.
I don't knock anybody that does play skin flutes, but your boy Zeta Gre Baby ain't one of them.
So what? So now I know you were saying you don't have really a favorite cigar. Find yourself with with certain cigars. I know a lot of people have them. Do you have any go-to cigars? For like a daily smoke in your humidor or anything like that you kind of usually gravitate toward for the most part?
Damn, a go-to cigar from moi? I would say, honestly, I think La Fontanas are my go-to.
Okay.
And Cusino P1s and M1s.
Oh, bro, I love those. I go to those are the, because I get like the 60 rings for like $6-7.
Yeah. And they're really good smoke.
Underestimate them, but what a lot of people don't realize is Cusano is made by Davidoff. If I remember correctly, it's made by Davidoff. It's just their bundle cigar.
Yeah, and it's one of those. For me, it's just like it is a go-to. It's kind of like, damn, hey, I have this Alec Bradley Black Market Estali, or I have the Black Market, or I have the Disciple, or whatever.
Yeah.
And I don't want to smoke that today. You know what? Today, let's take it like this, right? Easiest Sunday morning. What do I want to do? How long am I going to be sitting?
Right.
Let's pull out a La Fontana, or it would have been a Cusano M1 or a P1. Just something to kind of sit back. I like doing my little weird ass pairing. So I'm on a hot chocolate with a cigar that has white chocolate notes in it. So
listen, I do that. I mean, sometimes even though it might have like a white chocolate note or a coffee note, you might pair it with a let's just say a water or like a iced tea or a hot chocolate. You might get different notes that nobody else got because you're pairing it with something different.
Yeah, you know what? And I tell people that shit all the time. Like every cigar, but it's also opinionated, right? Some people enjoy their cigars with a nice scotch or with a nice bourbon. A rum or a whiskey, tequila, vodka. I don't know anybody that personally likes to have vodka with a cigar, but
I don't know anybody that likes to just drink vodka straight.
Yeah. So you have those, and then you have people like myself that are like, hey, you know what? I'm not in the mood for a whiskey right now. I'm not in the mood for a glass of wine. You know what? Hey, a hot tea would go so well right now.
Right.
hey, this cigar has notes of like white chocolate and dark chocolate and whatever else. So what if I just pair a hot chocolate and call it a fucking day?
Yeah, I mean, I like this morning when I was smoking this on the podcast, on the live episode, I had it paired with a can of the Black Rifle coffee, the Rich Mocha. I was drinking that, and the sweet cap was like amplified with that mocha. I was getting like the nutty, like a little bit of like I wouldn't even like almost like an almond taste with this.
Yeah,
like a little bit of like a leather taste, but I was still getting like that deep, rich, almost like chocolate taste with it as well.
And they know what the thing is. I don't want to say a lot of people, us cigar smokers, we get made fun of by the people that don't smoke cigars, right? It's always like, I'm not dissing nobody, so before anybody comes for me, understand I can fuck your whole day up by doing some research on you. Don't fuck with me. The cigarette smokers, the black and mild smokers, the weed smokers, the hookah people, more power to everybody. Smoke what you enjoy. But when they see a cigar, it's like, let's just say we talking about me indirectly, right? So let's just talk about me directly. 20 years old, you're smoking cigars, but you're hanging out with 30, 40, and 50.
Listen, bro, I'm in the same boat as you are.
Exactly. So you already know
cigars with guys that are 50, 60.
Exactly.
70,
so you are
30 and up. Like I found out recently, one of my boys I went to school with posted a picture in one of the cigar groups I'm a part of. Posted up a picture of him smoking a cigar. I said, bro, I didn't know you smoked. He said, yeah, I just started. I said, well, yo, I'm like, dude, hit me up. I'm like, yo, we'll smoke together. I'm like, it's and like you said, it's crazy. Like you got guys that are probably friends of yours and friends of mine, like in our own circles that smoke weed, smoke cigarettes, and me and you will sit there. Oh, I'm going to smoke. All right, cool. What are you gonna do? Oh, you want something? No, I'm good. I got this.
I'm enjoying my cigar. Oh yeah, well that's that old man shit. And I've been hearing that for 14 years, and I'm like, yo, at some point,
I've been hearing that shit almost a decade now.
Yeah, I'm like, yo, at some point, you learn to sit down and stop and smell the flowers, right? And that was kind of like one of my biggest problems at a point in my life. Everything had to be like go, 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 go all the time. And then like I said, 18 years old, seeing everybody that I was around do this.
Yeah, no, 100%.
I mean, have a good time. Like, yo, they look like they got life figured out,
Yeah, like at 14, 15, I was going with my dad. This is before you had to be, this was like when you could go into some of the smoke shops or company with adults. And I would go sit with him at the lounge. And it was just the two of us. He'd smoke his cigar. I'd sit there, hang out, relax. And then came the day I turned 18, kind of like you did. I'm like, I want to try one of these. I'm like, I'm always with you. I'm always around it. I want to try this. What is it like? I'm like, what is the hype, so to say, around a cigar?
Yo, and that was the thing that kind of drew me in. I'm not going to give this woman's name away, just in the event that I know she follows me on a lot of things, but if she happens to ever come across this interview, right? I'm
absolutely.
I'm gonna say it like this. 20-year-old me, what got me really stuck into cigars, and this is a dead tell, right? So 20-year-old me, I cut my first cigar. I'm like, I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. I done toasted. I done lit it up. And one of the women this is my original cigar family versus the one I have now. And it's just, the one I have now is just it's like the second coming of the one that I came from. So I'll never forget it. It was a summer day. Wasn't too hot this summer day. Okay. And I'm terrible with fucking descriptions. Okay. I'm gonna say she was a fair caramel complexion woman. She was in long hair and kind of thing. She had her hair up this day, and she had this fucking outfit on. Her like back was out kind of thing, pants and wedges, and the toes was out. Okay, 20-year-old me sees her in the chair.
And you looking like, God damn.
Got her leg. Yeah, I'm like, well, shit, like, whoo.
Like you're like, if this is what this is about, I can get behind this type of shit.
Yeah, exactly. So In one hand, she has this glass of red wine, and in her other hand, her right hand, she's got her cigar. So you see her going. And 20-year-old me is there like,
you're like, whoa.
Yeah, let me wipe the drool here for a minute.
Let me pick my jaw up real quick.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, I'm kind of snap back to reality. I look at my cigar and I'm like, yeah, I'm definitely going to stay with
I'm pausing this right now. And I'm staying here and I'm not leaving.
Like, I've never said this to her personally, like at all, ever. So I walk over to the table that she's sitting at. I sat with her and we had a conversation. And 20-year-old me, all I can say is if I was a little bit older at the time, right? If I was a little bit older at that time,
story.
I think that would be my woman, you know. But nah, my stupid ass didn't say anything, and I'm glad I didn't.
But
yeah, I know I would have butchered that sentence, like fucking terrible.
How are you? My name.
Yeah, it would have been something like that. I'm like,
okay, that's a great cigar. Okay, bye.
Yeah, right. So we just, her and I had a conversation, and she said to me, you know, I'm glad I got to see you grow up from the wild 18, 19-year-old kid that I knew to becoming who you are now, and you have so much further to go that I can't wait to see what you do with yourself.
Absolutely. You know, and that's kind of what happened with me is like, you know, I started hanging out with all these guys and, you know, kind of like you, I had one family of cigar smokers that I started with. And now to where I'm at, like you said, it's a totally different aspect and, you know, friendships and smoking family that I have.
All right, I'm back.
You know, to where they're kind of the same way. Like they see, you know, that I'm doing all these different things and you know, I got like you, I got kind of my hand in a little bit of everything between, you know, getting cigars in shops, helping people out, smoking cigars, doing a podcast, doing this, doing that. You know, and I've gotten the same thing of like, you know, you're doing your thing. You know, I'm proud of you. Keep doing what you're doing. You know, you've turned out, you know, a lot better than we would have thought you would have, or you're doing a lot of stuff that we never thought you would do, you know, stuff like that. And coming from those people that, you know, watched you kind of grow up through smoking cigars.
That means a lot. It means a lot more than just like a pat on the back kind of thing or a 100 on a test, because those are the people that your family sees you one way, but these group of people see you completely different.
Right.
And, you know, kind of getting personal here, you know, I am 34 years old, but, you know, soul wise, I'm not 34. I'm 465 just as a soul. And 34 years old, I never heard anybody in my family say, oh, I'm proud of you or anything of the sort. I was 34 years old and I actually heard that from my mom. And I'm like, well, goddamn, I went half my life without hearing this shit. And it came in the form of a text message. But from my cigar family, you know, 20 years old, let's just call them my social circle. Hearing from 20 years old up to 34 from that group of people, yo, you know, Z, I'm proud of you. You know, you've done everything that you said you were going to do. You delayed a lot of stuff, but you've done everything that you said you were going to do. I am so proud of you. That to me, in my honest opinion, that was better than getting my college degree. That was better than my high school diploma. That was better than when I bought my first Cadillac. You know, it's those moments that you get to reflect on, and when you sit down with that group of people and you hear it again, it does something to you inside. It makes you feel good. So
yeah, I know exactly what you mean, and you know, I mean, listen, it is for people who don't know, who, you know, I've had thankfully, you know, I've heard I'm proud of you quite a bit throughout my life, but you know, it does definitely mean something from people in a different world than where you are.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, especially being that, you know, like I've always said I was going to start a podcast, and it took me a couple of years to do it. You know, I didn't know how to do it at first. So kind of like you, I delayed it because until I figured out how I was going to do it, how we were going to get it set up. You know, I delayed it, and then thankfully I hooked up with MVR, and he kind of showed me the ropes on how to do this stuff and produce my own show and be able to do things like this where me and you can sit down and we can have just a regular, you know, conversation about cigars and music and, you know, kind of what made you start and stuff like that. Now, you know, I have that avenue to do that, and it took me a little while, but I'm there now.
Well, here's how that started, Zeta. So when, you know, Corona hit 4 years ago, Joey is friends with Kyle from Kenzuki Cigar Club. Him and Kyle started, you know.
And I'm sure you saw our lives when we would get on lives and just smoke our cigars and talk our wrestling and stuff like that. So that's how this kind of started.
So it was Joey and Kenzuki Cigar Club that started Turnbuckle Cigars. And I always say, if it wasn't for Kyle and Joey, they're not going to have me. You know what I'm saying? So we only been doing this 9 months. Okay, we only been doing this podcast 9 months. And in the 8th month, we got picked up by Roku TV. Obviously, we're doing something right. We're doing something professional. We're doing something where we're booked up until July. So people are hitting us up in our DMs, our emails, and things like that and saying, hey, we want to come on your podcast. Like, I hit up Jim and I said, hey, Jim, we want to come to your lounge and film. Jim goes, okay, no problem. You know what I mean? So shout out to, I know this is pre-tape, but shout out to the.
No, I mean, they just watched the podcast. This is just the rest of the long-length interview.
Right. Iron Horse Cigar Depot in Hudson, New York. Make sure y'all come and check them out and have a good cigar. Have a good cigar.
Now, I will tell you.
They got a whole lot of DBLs. They got their own house plan right here.
Well, what I will tell you is.
They got their own house plan right here. And listen,
come in New York, check them out. And I'll tell you now, in New York, they have one brand. Very hard to find in New York because not a lot of people carry them.
McAuliffe.
They have McAuliffe. Very hard brand in New York to find. So, you know, they have almost a whole line. Come pick those up here. Come hang out here. It's a great spot. There's a lot of history for the local people.
So, Jim, do you do anything with the what is that called, Joe? When you get your coin?
The ambassadors.
The ambassadors?
For McAuliffe.
We don't have anything special for it. Just do special events.
Okay.
Okay.
So that means you have to bring the coin when we come.
So that means I got to bring 2 of my coins. I got 2 coins.
Oh, shit. The computer's going to die.
Plug it in. Get the plug. There's a plug over here, right here.
I can plug right here.
Square plug.
Square plug? I got you. All right, but they got the square plug for right now. So, Zeta, what else do you got to say, like, in the cigar world, in the cigar world, in the music world? What else do you got to say, brother? Tell us how you got into the music world.
So in the music world, I actually come from a musical family. I have a cousin in my family who happens to play every instrument, and I had my mom who played like the clarinet when she was in high school. I had an uncle that played it. I forget what he played. I think he played the tuba or some shit. And being born into that and just constantly being around music on my mom's side and on my dad's side. And then I have a guy that's I identify as my other dad. He plays like several instruments as well.
Okay.
And it was just one of those things that you constantly are around music and you're constantly hearing it. And you already know at a certain age, like you're not like normal kids, right? Like
right.
Anytime that you're made fun of before being different, you know you're doing something right, my opinion. So I just started playing drums in the church one day. I'd play everything by ear. Never really had a music class or a music course, anything. So everything was just always, I hear it, it sticks in my head, and I'm like, okay, now I'm going to go home and make a makeshift drum set in the kitchen off some pot pans and little tin cookie jar sheets with the straws and everything else.
Facts.
And that the rest is history, I guess you can say, in a sense. And then you get older, you start learning some different things, you know, like kind of who's who to you in a sense, without giving away too much information, because the minute I do that, then it'll be, well, why didn't you do this, or why didn't you do that? So let's not even go that route. But music is one of those things that in a sense, like dancing for me, it allowed me to be very vulnerable without ever having to say anything, right? Dance is the same thing. Dancing allowed me to be vulnerable. Music allowed me to be vulnerable. And these things are very poetic to me. Being able to write as free as I wanted to.
Absolutely.
These things, again, is what allowed me to be vulnerable. Because if you try to just have a conversation with me and say, yo, you know, let's see you vulnerable. Yeah, good fucking luck, because that shit's not happening. You can go fuck yourself with that shit, buddy.
Buddy. Listen here, bucko.
Yeah. So, but if you ask me to write, but if you were to say, yo, write a song about how you feel, right? Imagine a woman that can make you feel really, really like a real special way or whatever. I can write that shit like it's nothing, right? And I'm not going to say I'm not going to say it's going to be a hit, but I can crank it out.
It's a hit for you.
Well, you know,
personally.
You know, so on that note, I used to live in Texas, right? So myself, my nephew, and two other guys, we wrote a song called Dream Girl. And we performed it in local spots in Texas. And, you know, do I think it was going to be a hit? Absolutely not. But, you know, now it's like, you know, I've done everything under the sun. I've done bodyguard work for the big names. I worked in, you know, many clubs with big names. I've performed my own music. I've done a lot of stuff, man. So now, you know, I'm at my life where I'm 54 years old. Everything I do now is for my kids. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it's like, you know, he wanted to put this podcast together. Listen,
this podcast originally was supposed to start with just wrestling. There wasn't supposed to be any cigars a part of it. It was just supposed to be us talking about wrestling and all the stuff going on. And you know, this podcast kind of started right before COVID.
So I retired.
But we never did anything with it because, like I said, we didn't know what to do. I bought the stuff to do it, but I didn't have the mixer. I didn't have the microphones. Like, I didn't have the proper equipment to do it. So I put it on the back burner until I could get that equipment, or I could figure out another way to do it, like a StreamYard, which is what we're using now. And then once this opportunity came about to do it, you know, obviously I jumped at the opportunity because, you know, this is something I wanted to do.
So, you know, I've been retired out of the wrestling business for 15 years, right? So I get a phone call 2 years ago from a buddy of mine who's going to be on a podcast, and he goes, "I want you and your son to come out as a tag team." He goes, "I want you to reinvent your tag team where your partner passed away, being that you own the rights." So I'm like,
well, no, that's not even how the conversation really went. Something to that effect was talked about afterwards, but that all started, you know, when I got the phone call. I was working when I got that phone call. I was at work. I was in the middle of a work day, and he called me to see if it was something I wanted to do. I'm like, absolutely, because, you know, like you said, the music is what lets you be vulnerable, and that the wrestling business is kind of the same way, because you're going out there and you have to show emotion to people that you normally wouldn't show in your personal life, or, you know, emotion that just normally doesn't come out, like the sadness, the upset, you know, just like me being able to do this, you know, being able to wrestle with him, to me was a big moment for me, you know, to have my debut match alongside him, because as a kid, that's who I grew up watching. That's who that's who I grew up idolizing was him, and I always wanted to do it. And when the opportunity called, basically the opportunity called, he said the same thing of like, he's like, well, so-and-so Magic wants us to wrestle. I'm like, he goes, you want to wrestle? I'm like, why are you calling me? He goes, so it's a tag team match. I said, okay, well, who's my partner? He goes, well, me. I'm like, so what are we still doing on the phone?
So, Zeta, so I have my nephew Justin. His dad was my partner, and we used to go by the Untouchables. So I said, before we even okay this.
Well, I was the one that wanted his blessing because
out of respect to my, God rest his soul, my partner, I had to call up my nephew.
And that was under my own.
That was under
my own thing because I am close with his son. I watched him wrestle. I watched his dad wrestle. I watched my dad wrestle. So I called him and I'm like, listen, I said, I got to wrestle. I said, I'm going to wrestle with my dad. He goes, that's awesome. I'm like, I'm going to ask you a question. I said, and out of respect, I said, I want to use the Untouchables. I said, and when I do this, I said, I want to make sure it's okay with you that I do this. I said, because I know, the legacy is there. Honestly, that tag team, the legacy is there for both of us. Like if he retired and, my cousin wanted to get back in the ring, I tell him, listen, why don't we take over as, the new generation, the new incarnation of that tag team, because the legacy is there. Our family was the tag team, when I called him, I'm like, listen, I can't fill your father's shoes. I said, I'm not even trying to fill his shoes. I said, because I know I can't do it. I'm like, I know I can't fill his shoes. I said, I know I'm never going to be able to do that. And I said the same thing to him. I said, I want to do this. I said, am I going to fill your shoes? No. I said, do I want to fill your shoes? I would love to. I said, but I know I can't do everything you did. I said, and I wouldn't want to do all that. I don't want to fill his shoes. I want to have my own
legacy,
I want to leave my own mark on the business, just like you do in the music industry. You want to leave your own mark. I want to leave my own footprint on the wrestling business. When people think of me, I want them to think of, oh man, that's the guy that, when he came in, he teamed with his father, and, his first match was with the guy that he watched growing up. And now, he's still using that name, but he's also forming his own legacy at the same time of creating my own footprint. I want to leave it. The old saying goes is you want to leave the business better than when you broke in, whether it's the music industry, the wrestling industry. You want to leave those industries better than when you broke in. You want to be to the point of like where you own all of your masters and you're producing for not only yourself, but maybe, to the point of where you're producing for bigger artists and, you're owning the rights and all that stuff. You know what I mean? Like you want to get to that point of where you can have, your own label, and everybody that is on your label owns their own masters, because I like we said earlier, that's a big thing now.
Make sure you own your masters so these assholes don't get shopping sprees.
Exactly. And they don't take people out shopping.
When I started,
but that's beside the point.
When I started in the business, I was trained I was trained in the Texas Sportatorium. I was trained by Chris Adams and all those guys in Texas. Then I came back to New York, and I was trained by Johnny Rods, the late great Pete McKay. Then I went out to Alpha the Wild Samoans. So people say, how do you know all the Samoans? Listen, those are my family. Like next weekend, Saturday, we're going to be up in Rhode Island.
Hopefully.
So the thing is, like, we did an autograph signing 2 years ago in the ECW arena. Every wrestler that came through the ECW arena that day stopped at the table, because I brought a tag team. They stopped at the table, and they were like, yo, Dave, what's up, man? What's going on? What's going on? Billy Gunn, Boyd, the Wild Samoan, Jeff Jarrett, Matt Hardy. They all stopped at the table. And guess what? I'm not a celebrity. I'm just your old Joe Schmuckatelli from the city of Yonkers, where Tommy Dreamer is from. Shout out to Tommy Dreamer. So, it's just like, I brought him into the business. I didn't bring him into the business. He brought himself into the business because my wife is like, Joey's not going to wrestle. I said,
well, I brought myself into the business to start with. I brought myself into the business as a commentator.
Right.
So I was doing, I was playing with the mixer. I was playing with the audio equipment, and a lot of the times it sounds crazy, but a lot of the times where I strive is stuff like this, where I'm cutting a promo video, or I'm doing a podcast, or I'm calling matches. Like that's where I strive. But then I'm also able to showcase that same talent inside of the ring. And, like I've had people tell me, from day one, from the first match, I've sent that to people, and people go,
you got to send it.
How long have you been doing it? I said, that was day one.
So
I said, that was day one in front of a crowd, in front of people. And they were like, you look like you've been around for 15 years. I said, well, again, like you grew up with family members playing instruments and you kind of grew up around the music. I grew up around that business.
So Zeta,
so you naturally pick stuff up throughout your years of going through and all of that. So when it came time for me to get in front of those people and get in front of the camera and show them who I was and make a name for myself from day one, that's exactly what I did. In that company, I made a name for myself from day one. I came out, I showed them who I was, what I was about. I showed them that I don't take no shit from nobody. I showed them that I can throw kids into orbit and let them stay there for a little while until they come down. And and when I say kids, I mean, I stand like 6'6". I said, so kids to me are like, 5'10" and under. And I mean, I kind of might have thrown a kid into orbit, as I've been told.
So, here's the thing. So, I used to drive to see my mother, God rest her soul, in North Carolina, right? So the wife's been sleeping in the back seat, and I'm driving, I'm looking in the mirror, I'm like, yeah, this big dog, I'm on my way to North Carolina. I'm coming down there. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And my wife wakes up, she's like, are you talking to yourself again?
Which the irony of that is,
yeah,
in May, we start working for a company down in North Carolina, which is the irony of that promo of I'm on my way to North Carolina, because in May, we start with a new company that's a fresh startup company down in North Carolina to wrestle. So there's the irony in that whole little statement of, we get to showcase ourselves in other ways. Like now with that company, we're also a part of the, like you said, the behind the scenes aspect, the booking the talent, the writing out the storylines, the writing out the vulnerability essentially of what we would like people to be. But at the same time, like we would like them to do this, but we want them to be the artist essentially. We want you to get them. We want them to get to that point of where they can showcase that to people. So it's crazy to think of how kind of all the entertainment industry kind of
goes around each other.
Revolves almost around the same thing of the vulnerability aspect and the showcasing yourself in a different light and stuff like that. A lot of people don't get that, the entertainment, like the wrestling industry is essentially almost the same as the entertainment industry.
People don't, for those who don't watch wrestling, it's, it's kind of like the same thing with music. It's a lot of it's a lot of shit that goes on behind the scenes that, like we're not going to discuss or whatever, but if kind of thing, right?
Right. Correct.
And it becomes one of those things that after a while, I always say whatever you're born into, most likely that's what you're going to gravitate towards.
Correct.
Right? you have the mindset, if you have the mental capacity for it, versus if you don't, then what are you kind of doing, right?
Right. Correct.
So it goes, Zeta's born into music. What's Zeta going to end up doing? I'm going to do music.
Right.
Funny story. I'm 6'5" and I dance. But when people hear me say I dance, what kind of dance do you
Can
do?
you show us how you dance?
Huh?
Can you show us how you dance?
Yeah, I get that all the time. Oh, what type of dance do you do? Like,
they use it as almost like a party trick. Do that little dance you did.
Do that
last
dance
time.
you did, Zeta.
Yeah, they try it, and I kind of look at them like, you've got to be fucking kidding me, right? Like, this ain't just some, hey, you just asked me to. I'm not going to sit here and fucking shuck and jive, because that's not what I do. Because you say, hey, bust the move. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'll give you like $3.
Yeah, okay, you can go fuck yourself with that shit.
Right.
Like, it's not gonna happen. No. But and I tell people I dance, it's like, oh, what type of dance do you do? And you can tell how small-minded humanity is.
Correct.
Because when you say you dance, they instantly think you do all those little trendy dances, those little TikToks and shit. And I'm like, I don't do the TikTok shit. That's not what I do. I am a legitimate fucking dancer. I never had a dance class. Like, I never had a music course, right? Never was taught how to play an instrument. Nothing. Everything that is Zeta is all self-taught. I taught myself how to produce. I taught myself how to write, and I have my own unique writing format. I taught myself how to do the fucking moonwalk. I taught myself how to do the gliding and the sliding and the popping and the locking and the ballet and all of this and the contemporary and all of that. I taught myself these things. Now it went from that to, I have a chance. I got the chance to be part of a ballet company where I can be me, right? And a friend of mine who I call sister has encouraged and pushed me to, in a sense, explore more of my vulnerability. You stupid for that, right? I'm looking at that right now. It's kind of weird.
I know you're looking at it because he just showed it to me.
Yeah, I'm like, do I do it? Like, do I say hi over there? Like, hi. Like, it looks kind of stupid. Like, I'm here, but I'm kind of giving them.
Yo, I'm just fucking with you, dog. You know that.
I'm giving the people over here some insight, because this is one of those rare instances where, just because you see me do like a live or whatever, you don't really get to see who I really am.
Right.
And this is one of those times where it's like, yo, let me bring who I am to the forefront. Let me kind of take the mask off, right? So I have a sister. Well, she's not my real sister, but she's a really good friend who I call sister. And Jennifer Gordon, it's one of those things that she has her own ballet company. And to be able to say I'm a part of that means a lot to me. So, performance came up, and I gave her a call, and I'm like, hey, I want to do this thing, but I want to dance with my shirt off. But
Whoa. Pause.
But anyway, I'm a little on edge about it, because I don't know how I'm going to be affected, or the negative feedback or anything.
Right.
And something that she said to me was, I don't do body shaming at all. And for you, that's going to be a very big step, because that's going to be very vulnerable for you. So I gave her the backstory on the song that I wanted to do and everything else. And she said, I encourage you to do it. Her saying that to me was just the same thing of people saying to me here, yo, Zeta, keep doing these lives, and, keep doing the, and keep doing the music, and do this and do that, just do it. And it became apparent, okay, I can do this and not worry about what everybody else is saying.
Right.
And it gets tricky, it does. But in the same sense, it's one of those things of if you don't do it, someone else is going to. What you won't do, someone else will. Where you're afraid to take 2 steps, somebody else is gung-ho and is going to take 2 steps. Someone else is going to roll the dice, go past go, and collect their $200 and go all around a Monopoly board. And then, you know, you hear this quote, when your feet hit the ground in the morning, make sure that when your feet touch the ground in the morning, the devil will even say, oh shit, he's up. It's a thing of remembering who the fuck you are.
Yes.
And not forgetting who the fuck you are.
Absolutely. I mean, that's a great way to, you know, think of it. And, you know, to me, that's another great thing to sort of live by, is that quote, as well as there's many others. Everybody's got their own. I think on that note, I think we'll, with that quote alone,
we're gonna wrap
we'll wrap up this interview, and then once I post it up, Zeta, I'll send it to you. This way you have it and you can watch it, and you know, if you want to play it for somebody to listen to or anything like that, you have it.
Oh man, I was about to give y'all so many gems and shit like that. I was gonna go all the way in.
So let's go.
I mean, we can keep going, bro. I don't care. I'm recording.
I'll go in on myself, but not like that. I was willing to go in.
I mean, listen, we can keep going. It's up to you. It's up to you. I mean, we've been going an hour now, so
I mean, if you wanna come back, and
we can do a part 2 another time. It's up to you.
Part 3, part 4, part 5.
It's
I
up
mean,
to you.
let's do it like this. How much of Zeta do y'all actually really want to know? I mean, I think I'm an interesting character.
I mean, I always leave it up to however much you want to share.
So, let's do this. So we're on part 2 right now, right?
So essentially, this would be part 2. Yeah, this would be a full-length second part interview.
So let's let them think after we post this.
So why? I was just gonna say, unless we leave them on a cliffhanger, and then we come back with a part 3.
Cliffhanger, and we come back with part 3
in a couple. You know what I mean?
Yeah, let's do it that way. You know,
this way, you know what? We can talk more, and
so
you know, if your performance happens before then, you know, then.
Well, the performance already happened. I just never posted it. I've posted like maybe.
We still here.
We're gonna let you guys sit on this one for a little while, and when I go home, I'm gonna see what I got in my book and the calendar, see what we're open, and then we'll put a part 3 on there. This way, people can kind of get more of a, you know, we'll do more of an insight, and hopefully by then we got some other stuff, and you know, maybe we'll figure out how to you know, maybe do this in person or something like that, and go from there.
So
doing it in person is easy. All we got to do is just link up and, you know, and kick it, and
absolutely.
You know, and people get that, and then those who, you know, who tune in and watch and support, you know, you guys, Turnbuckles and Stogies, and you know, Zeta Gre, they'll have a chance to really see Zeta off of Instagram. You know, the
right.
I guess you can say the jewelry fanatic, the guy who wears weird clothes and doesn't give a fuck about what you really got to say and what you really got to think about me.
Exactly.
You know, you get to see the comedy of me. You get to see those. You'll get to see all the different facets of who I am,
right? And
hear the things that make me who I am and why I am the way that I am.
And you'll get to see kind of almost the same thing with us, of like,
so
you know, you are
my pettiest ass. You get the shit. You might get lucky and hear some of my petty stories.
Well, being petty is fun. I think that's
so.
I have fun being petty.
We still sitting here at the Iron Horse Cigar Lounge.
We want to thank them for hosting us. We want to
thank Jim for hosting us.
Yes.
And we still sitting here. We'll be here for the rest of the day.
Well, no, not the rest of the day.
Because I got to go to my other lounge.
Couple more hours, and then.
So, I want to thank Zeta Gre for coming on.
Thank you.
Boss Dog, a.k.a. Big Dog, the Vanilla Gorilla, Zeta Gre.
This has been an in-depth part 2 interview.
And we got maybe 3 more parts.
We got a few more parts. Maybe the next one will be in person. We'll set up a day to do that, even if we got to record it like this.
Y'all gonna have a good fucking time learning about Zeta. I'll tell you that. You know, I'd say it this way about myself. Everybody that this has been said about me and personally, I don't know how true it is, just because somebody else said it about me. People that have been around me in different.
Lord, Lord, Scoot.
I hope your beard fall off into a toilet next time you use the bathroom.
Lord.
People have said being around Zeta is life changing. It's one of those things that everybody that whether you take a ride with them somewhere or you just sit down and have a conversation, a really in-depth conversation.
JNR's the Paramus, baby.
It's very life changing. Something about the conversation hits you a certain way. Something that he says. Again, this is what people have said. I don't keep tabs on people's fucking life changes and events and shit like that. But it's been one of those things. It's been a few instances where people have said,
shout out to Vanilli.
Where when you sit down with him and you really start talking to him, you really pick his brain and just, let him give you nuggets and fries and gems and things like that. You walk away with something and it changes who you are. It changes your perception and your outlook on a lot of things. So,
well, Zeta, we appreciate you coming on, my brother. We
Yes.
talk offline, but
we'll work out another day to do this.
And shout out to Vanilli, my man Zeta.
You totally butchered that, but that's okay.
So, on that note,
return to the Mac, baby.
Absolutely.
Return to the Met.
Superfly Zeta Gre.
NBR Radio, NESS Network. This has been Vanilla Gorilla, Big Dog, Zeta the Great. We out. Have a good night.